The ledger and the law. Imagine working 40 years, clocking in every day, only to find out Uncle Sam still takes a bite out of your Social Security check. My father's old ledger tells the story in blue ink. $847 promised, minus $127 in taxes, equals $720 to live on. This story begins with that worn notebook and the promise it represents. What if you worked your whole life, paid into the system for 40 years, only to watch Uncle Sam take another bite from your Social Security check every single month? This question hung in the amber light of WMID's cramped studio in Des Moines, Iowa, where Ana Ramirez had been asking the hard questions about retirement for 15 years. The late afternoon sun slanted through dusty Venetian blinds, casting prison bar shadows across her broadcast console. Her coffee, her fourth since noon, had gone cold in the faded NPR mug her daughter had given her 10 Christmases ago. Ana's fingers traced the worn edges of a yellowed ledger that sat beside her microphone. Her father's retirement notebook, filled with meticulous calculations in blue ballpoint pen. $847 monthly Social Security, one line read. Followed by, minus $127 federal tax, $720 actual. He'd updated it every month until Parkinson's made his handwriting too shaky to continue. The ledger was why she'd gotten into financial journalism, watching her father, a tool and die maker who'd never missed a day of work in 37 years, puzzle over why his earned benefits were taxed like a luxury. "Good afternoon, Heartland," Ana's voice flowed, warm and steady into the microphone. "This is Your Money, Your Years on WMID, and I'm Ana Ramirez. Today, we're talking about something that could fundamentally change retirement planning for millions of Americans. It's called the Golden Promise Act. And if you're receiving Social Security or plan to, you need to hear this." The phone board lit up like a slot machine hitting jackpot. 8 lines, all blinking urgently. Ana's producer, Tommy Chen, held up both hands behind the glass. 10 seconds until the first caller. "Here's what we know," Ana continued, pulling her reading glasses down from atop her graying hair. "Representatives Angela Carter and Senator Robert Grant introduced legislation yesterday that would completely eliminate federal income tax on Social Security benefits starting in 2026. Currently, if your combined income exceeds $25,000 as an individual or $32,000 as a married couple, you're paying federal tax on up to 85% of your Social Security. These thresholds haven't been adjusted since 1984. Think about that. 1984. A gallon of milk cost $2.26. "Ana, this is Walter from Ames." The voice crackled with age and barely contained emotion. "I'm 73 years old. Worked the John Deere factory floor for 38 years. Every April, I write a check to the IRS for money. They tax me on Social Security money I already paid taxes on when I earned it. It's double dipping, plain and simple." "Walter, I hear you," Ana responded, her voice carrying the weight of hundreds of similar conversations. "And you're not alone. Nearly 40% of Social Security recipients pay federal income tax on their benefits. That's about 23 million Americans writing those checks alongside you." The second line blinked insistently. Ana pressed the button. "This is Jennifer from Cedar Rapids, and I'm sorry. But this sounds too good to be true. The caller's voice was sharp, skeptical. Nothing's free in this world. If they're not taxing Social Security, they're getting that money somewhere else. What's the catch? Anna shifted her father's ledger slightly, as if drawing strength from it. Jennifer raises the critical question, folks. The Golden Promise Act would offset the lost revenue by applying Social Security payroll taxes to annual incomes above $270,000. Currently, Social Security taxes cap out at $168,600 in 2024. This would essentially ask the highest earners to contribute more to keep the system solvent. Oh, so it's another soak the rich scheme, Jennifer shot back. Or, Anna said carefully, it's asking whether someone making $300,000 should stop paying Social Security tax halfway through the year, while someone making $50,000 pays it all 12 months. But Jennifer, you're right to ask hard questions. This is a fictionalized exploration of these issues, not legal, tax, or investment advice. Everyone should consult qualified professionals about their specific situation. Tommy was gesturing frantically 3 minutes to commercial break. Anna noticed something else. His phone was buzzing with text messages. Personal ones, from the look on his face. Let me share some context. Anna continued, watching Tommy step out of the booth. When Social Security began taxing benefits in 1984, it affected less than 10% of recipients. Today? Nearly half. Why? Because those income thresholds were never indexed to inflation. Your 401k grew, your IRA did what it was supposed to do. Maybe you have a small pension, suddenly you're rich by 1984 standards. Another caller, Michael from Davenport, Anna, I'm still working at 67. Because I can't afford to retire with these taxes. The Golden Promise Act could change everything for me and my wife. When will Congress vote? The bill's in committee, Michael. Realistically, we're looking at months of debate. This touches the third rail of American politics: Social Security and Medicare. Nothing moves fast when you're dealing with programs that affect 67 million Americans and represent a quarter of the federal budget. Through the studio window, Anna saw Tommy return, his face pale. He held up his phone, mouthing, "Mom's watching. She's crying." Anna understood immediately. Tommy's parents were Korean immigrants who'd run a dry cleaning shop for 40 years, meticulously saving for a retirement that was being slowly eroded by taxes they'd never expected to pay. This wasn't just radio content, it was personal for everyone in her orbit. "We're heading to break," Anna said, her voice steady, despite the tightening in her chest. "But when we return, we'll hear from a tax attorney who says this bill could backfire spectacularly, and a retired teacher from Mason City who calculated she'd save $3,600 a year. This isn't just about numbers on a ledger." She touched her father's notebook. "Again, it's about the promise America makes to its workers: contribute now, and we'll take care of you later. The question is, are we keeping that promise?" As the on-air light clicked off, Anna pulled out her phone. 17 text messages. Her sister Maria, "Watching your show. Dad would be so proud." Her brother Carlos, "This better not raise my taxes." And from her daughter Sophie, away at college, "Mom, we need to talk about Grandma's situation at dinner tomorrow." Anna stared at the ledger, at her Father's careful arithmetic, each number a small act of hope and planning. Tomorrow's family dinner would be interesting. The Golden Promise Act wasn't just going to divide Congress, it was about to divide her own dining room table. The receipt and the rift. What happens when a new tax proposal doesn't just divide Congress but divides your own family dinner table? The dining room in Michael Ramirez's colonial-style home smelled of cumin and roasted chicken, the Costco rotisserie chicken that had become their Sunday tradition, stretched with Maria's homemade sides to feed 12 people. Through the window, November's early darkness had already swallowed suburban Des Moines, leaving only the reflection of the family gathered around the extended table. Anna sat between her brother Michael and their cousin Daniel, her father's ledger tucked in her purse by her feet. She'd been off air for 3 hours, but the weight of the afternoon's broadcast still pressed on her shoulders. Across the table, Michael's wife Janet was helping their teenage daughter Emma with her college financial aid. Forms a cruel irony that wasn't lost on Anna. "Pass the rice, would you?" Michael asked. But his eyes were fixed on the grocery receipt Janet had left on the table. "Jesus, look at this. Eggs are $4.79. When Dad was keeping that ledger of his, eggs were what, 90 cents? Which is exactly why the Golden Promise Act makes sense," Michael continued, settling into the same tone he used for client meetings at H&R Block. "Mom's Social Security is $1,847 a month. She pays $221 in federal taxes on that. This bill would give her back $2,652 a year. That's her Medicare Part B premiums for 2 months." Daniel set down his wine glass with deliberate precision. At 38, he was the youngest at the adult table, but earned more than anyone else in the room, a fact that created an unspoken tension at every family gathering. His Tesla key fob sat conspicuously next to his plate. "You know who's paying for Mom's $2,652, don't you?" Daniel's voice carried the controlled frustration of someone who'd been running these numbers all week. "Me. And everyone else who worked their ass off to build something." "Danny," Michael started. "No, let me finish." Daniel pulled out his phone, scrolling to a calculator app. "I make $285,000 a year. Good money, I'm not denying that. Under this Golden Promise Act, I'd pay an extra $11,400 in Social Security taxes. $11,000. That's Emma's college tuition for a semester at Iowa State." Emma looked up from her FAFSA form, uncomfortable at being pulled into the argument. Anna watched her family divide along invisible lines she'd never noticed before. "Daniel, the current cap means you stop paying Social Security tax after June. Someone making $50,000 pays it all 12 months. How is that fair?" "Because I already pay $40,000 in federal income tax." Daniel's composure cracked. "I pay more in taxes than some people make in a year. Now they want more because apparently being successful is a crime in this country." Michael's 15-year-old son, Marcus, piped up, "Uncle Danny, didn't Grandpa pay Social Security taxes his whole life? Why should Grandma have to pay taxes on it again?" The table went quiet. Even Daniel softened at the mention of their grandfather. "It's not that simple, mijo," Anna said gently. When Social Security started taxing benefits in 1984, It only affected wealthy retirees. But they never adjusted the thresholds for inflation. Now, regular middle-class retirees, teachers, factory workers, accountants like your dad, they're all paying taxes on their Social Security. Janet looked up from the college forms. You know what really bothers me? We're sitting here fighting about Social Security taxes, while pharmaceutical companies are charging Mom $400 a month for her diabetes medication. Maybe we're arguing about the wrong problem. This is a fictionalized discussion. Anna felt compelled to add, her radio training kicking in. Not legal, tax, or investment advice. Everyone should consult. Anna, stop. Maria, the eldest sibling, finally spoke from the head of the table. We're not your radio audience. We're your family. The rebuke stung. Anna realized she'd been treating this like another broadcast segment, not a conversation with people she loved. Michael cleared his throat. Look, Danny, I get it. Nobody wants to pay more taxes. But our parents' generation, they built this country. Dad worked until his hands literally couldn't hold tools anymore. Mom cleaned office buildings at night so we could go to college. Doesn't their Social Security check deserve to be, I don't know, sacred? Sacred? Daniel laughed bitterly. You want to talk sacred? How about the 70 hours a week I work? How about the fact that I haven't taken a real vacation in 3 years? But sure, let's make me the villain because I actually succeeded. Anna noticed her sister-in-law quietly crying. Janet's father had just moved into assisted living. His Social Security and small pension barely covering the costs. You know what Dad would say if he were here? Anna asked quietly, her hand instinctively reaching toward her purse where the ledger rested. He'd say we're all talking about money when we're really talking about fear. Michael's afraid Mom will struggle. Daniel's afraid his success makes him a target. Janet's afraid for her father. We're all afraid of not having enough, of being forgotten, of working our whole lives and having nothing to show for it. Daniel stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Dad would also say that a man provides for his family without complaint. Well, I'm tired of providing for everyone else's family too. Danny, please. Michael reached for his cousin's arm. No, I need some air. Daniel grabbed his keys. Tell Mom I'm sorry I missed dessert. The sound of the front door closing echoed through the suddenly quiet house. Emma started crying softly. Marcus stared at his plate. The college financial aid forms sat abandoned among the dishes. Anna looked around the table at Michael, rubbing his temples, at Maria comforting Emma, at Janet clearing plates with shaking hands. Tomorrow, she'd be back on the air, taking calls from strangers wrestling with these same questions. But tonight, she realized the Golden Promise Act had already delivered on one promise to reveal just how differently Americans, even within the same family, viewed fairness, sacrifice, and the social contracts that bind us together. The grocery receipt still lay on the table, a silent witness to the inflation that made every dollar matter more. Next to it, someone had left a fortune cookie from last week's Chinese takeout. Its message still hidden inside, family is wealth that cannot be taxed. If only that were true, Anna thought, as she helped clear the dishes and prepared for what would surely be an even more difficult conversation tomorrow, both on and off the air. This is a fictionalized story, not political commentary. It isn't about Republicans or Democrats, it's about families around the dinner table, staring at receipts, medicine bottles, and wondering if their retirement dollars will stretch far enough.